everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Another great day. Wow, we got a great call lined up for you today, as we do every day this week. Every morning, we're at 9 o'clock a.m., Monday through Friday, Pacific Coast time. Want to thank you all for being on the call this morning. Let's see. Boss Lady, Mr. Tasha Ismail, thank you so much for joining us, superstar. Mr. Bill Bailey, thank you so much. I got your list. I contacted every one of your people to text them about the conference calls and my scheduling. Thank you so much, Mr. Bill Bailey, down there in San Diego, California. You got a good group of new people coming on, sir. Congratulations. Miss Antonio Dash, thank you for coming on. Miss Ismail, thank you, sir. Miss Castro, thank you. On there twice, I love it. Mr. Boris Shelton, hello, 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 hello. And Mr. Lance Wittenberg, good morning, sir. Miss Tracy Gilmore, thank you so much. Mr. Ryan Swallow up in Sacramento, good morning. Miss Zoe Duffy, thank you so much. Miss Pat Robinson in Oakland. Hey, Miss Pat Robinson. And Mr. Edmund Smith, thank you so much. And Miss Mary Perez, thank you so much. Hey, folks, we got back part 2 from last week. I know you guys never heard Mr. Dwight Williams before, and now you see he's on the map, and you see why I've come on as a great thought leader, businessman, entrepreneur, an AC and IPO, and you could understand his philosophies. They measure up with a lot of mine, and I tell you what, we talk to each other quite frequently. We have a great deal of respect for each other. We love spending time together on the phone or in person. And right now, he's back for part 2. So without further ado, from all the way from Houston, Texas, the one, the only, the incomparable Mr. Dwight Williams. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing today? I always open up good. Same here. Well, it's good to be back. Something wrong? That better? All right. I'm glad to be back. I've been thinking about this a lot, and I had a lot of fun last week. So now, Mr. Thomas, you had talked about Q&A at some point today, am I right? Is that correct?
Yeah, we can do a Q&A, so I want you to get started on just maybe taking off where you left off last week, and then we can open up for Q&A. Just get a few points in and, you know.
Okay, not a problem. As I said again, for those of you who may not have been on last week, my name is Dwight Williams. I am a business owner out of the Houston, Texas market. I have owned businesses and not worked for anybody for over 30 years now. My partner and I own home health businesses in Louisiana, investment firms here in Houston. My background is systems and IT, and have built several IT agencies, have worked all over the planet, traveling and building systems for Fortune 1000 companies. And so I'm what my career and my path has taught me is that leverage is everything. We talked about that last week. And so not necessary to leverage somebody else, but to be gaining leverage. That's why, like Mr. Thomas, I trade stocks and Forex. We do all of that. I own businesses that have hundreds of people that work for me. And because those things give us leverage. And so we're always thinking. I say this all the time, though. I look at millennials, I talk to my daughter and I talk to my son, and I tell them as often as I possibly can, you live in the greatest time that this planet has ever seen. This is, I mean, think about it. You got to think about it this way. In the beginning, Mr. Thomas and I talk about industrialization. We built infrastructure. We put all these factories and all of this stuff together. And now the technology age comes along and they connect us through the internet. They create social platforms like Facebook and Google and all this. So you got all these tools available to you now, which gives the average person sitting at their house in their office right now under social distancing and quarantining the opportunity to reinvent themselves and create more success in their lives than they've had prior to now. So to me, this situation that we find ourselves in now is more of a blessing than anything. This is a blessing. This gives everybody a chance to regroup and to rethink. So I really challenge you. I'm not taking, I got so many things going on over here. one of the things I told my wife last year that I wanted to start doing was cooking. And so I've taken this time to start cooking. I'm always reinventing who I am. I never take I never take a moment to just to stop, because I don't believe there's a such thing as stopping. I'm gonna occupy until he comes. I wanted to talk briefly about something Mr. Thomas mentioned last week, and that was this idea of faith. Faith is something I love, is one of my favorite subjects. And I love talking about it because I think it's the key to everything we do. It has been the key to everything I've done. And I've had a lot of really interesting conversations with a lot of people, and they think I'm nuts in most cases. But things that I've discovered over the last 30 plus years as an entrepreneur, I began to realize that at the core of everything we do is the faith that we have in what we do. Early in my career, I was a young kid and working really hard, and work was the thing I did. And I'd work, and it was almost like spinning my wheels. And I began to step back and look at what I was doing, and I began to realize I didn't need to do as much work more so than preparation. I think the difference between what we call work and faith is if I'm doing the work, then I'm the power that's doing whatever I'm doing in my life. I don't want to be that. I want somebody bigger than me to do all the work, and I just simply reap the benefits through just simply believing it and then receiving it. So the only thing I have to do is to prepare to receive the thing that I believe is already done. I don't invest a whole lot of time trying to figure things out, how to do it. I don't invest a whole lot of time in trying to, meet the right person, I just believe if I consistently prepare myself every day to get out there and do the things that are important in life, life will lead me along a path where I will connect with everything that's already been done for me. And I just see my mindset just has to be in a place where I'm ready to receive that's already been done. So, but I won't be able to find those things if I'm not constantly moving around. Now, does that mean that I've got to get out the house during this quarantine? No, it doesn't. We got social media now. As I said earlier, we got technologies available to us that give us more access than we could ever get by getting in the car and going to Starbucks. We need to be touching those people, talking to those people, messaging those people, and sending out posts. We letting them know that, hey, I'm here. This is what I'm doing. And this is why what I'm doing may be something you may be interested in. And so I simply believe that faith is simply the verb form of belief. That would be my statement. I think faith is the full expression of belief. So it's one thing for me to believe a thing, but if I never take action, then I don't believe I ever really had faith for that thing. Faith says, I'm so convicted of the thing that I say I believe that it's causing me to do something about it. And I've always, and so it's the chicken and the egg. I don't go to work to make money. I just know that money, I'm supposed to have money, and I believe that. So I simply need to do the things that position me to receive what's already that's out there waiting on me. And it becomes so what I'm doing during this time is repositioning myself for a future that I believe is coming. Therefore, there's no fear. I mean, I'm so excited about the future till I don't know how to act right now. I mean, think about it. People are panicking right now, and everything's cheap. You can go out on the stock market, and every stock is cheap. Real estate is going to go down, and people are like, man, what's going to happen to real estate? It's going to get better, or you'll be able to buy 2 for 1. So this is going to be, and so this will be the best time. The people. So, for example, I'm in the business of building. Let's say you're building your business right now. People are open now. See, remember, in the business that we're building, the biggest thing we broker is attention. We're out trying, we attract attention. Attention is the currency of this business. And so because of that, people are paying more attention now. So I'm thinking it couldn't get any better. Now, am I suggesting that I'm happy for the tragedy of this and all? That's a whole, as I said last week, we could have that discussion. That's a whole different discussion, because I actually have a lot of thoughts about that. But the truth is, no, I'm not. But I think change is disruptive. And we avoid it and run from it because we only see the painful side of it. And yes, the disruption that comes from change does introduce some pain, but at the same time, there is no progress without it. So I have to pick between the pain of change and the benefit of progress. And if I have to exchange those two things, I'm going to choose progress every single time. I have to. And whatever pain I have to go through to get it, that's an easy decision for me. And so that is basically the whole nature of our conversation right now. Is change is painful, but the growth is, you can't live without it. And so in my life, and I'll speak for me, I'm trying to disrupt every day. I said last week, average people, they avoid change, but the truly wealthy, they don't. And so you got the average that avoid change. You got the middle of the ground who adapt to the changes that life impresses upon them. So they wait for life. They wait for the boss to fire them. They wait for the house to get foreclosed on, to take care of business. They're not proactive. Well, the wealthy, they understand that the crisis is a product of not a circumstance. Crisis is a product of no planning. The more you plan, the less crisis there is. And so what they do to advance their situation is they introduce their own disruption. They disrupt their own world. They fire themselves. So they instead of waiting for the boss to fire me, I begin to work on a plan where I fire myself in advance. So I'm saying in a year, I'm going to quit this place. Because why? I've only got a year that I'm going to stay where I'm at. I've got to elevate to another place. So if I don't meet my goals in 12 months, I'm going to fire myself. I'm going to quit my job and self-inflict. And so these are the ways we force ourselves to advance. And so most people say the wealthy are wealthy because they are rich and they have access to money and they know this person, they got access. It's not always true. Now that some of that is true and some of those advantages exist, but in a lot of cases, those advantages exist for the same sacrifices that I'm talking to you about now. Great-grandfather met the person that's giving you that advantage 2 generations later by making a sacrifice similar to this one. And so change, even though this change is painful, it is, you're watching progress in the making. So I'm really, really excited, really am.
Mr. Williams, you know, there's a word in Chinese called crisis, and that means opportunity. See, we know we're 5%ers, so we get excited when things like this. Robert Kiyosaki, we get excited when everybody's thinking the market's always, everything that go up. No, we make money just as well going, but people don't understand the excitement we have because there's opportunity now like never before. And like you talk about the millenniums, look, you guys got something we never had 10, 15, 20 years ago to run a global, look at Mr. Ismail, a global business in the palm of your hand called AC, and don't even take advantage of it. See, I'm an old school, I get it. You know, there's a book out that I've had Mr. Bree Clemens put up, Who Moved My Cheese? Don't you realize your cheese have been moved? Why do you keep going back to the same place, scurrying back like the 2 mice, going back in that little maze looking for their cheese when it's been moved? You are in the, look, as Mark Cuban says, you're 1.0 is gone, 2.0, hold it up for a second, 2.0 it's just started. We're in a brave, new era. There's a book, Mr. Tasha Ismail's got Who Moved My Cheese? Guys, you got to read it. You go on YouTube and you can listen to it, and it's going to blow your mind because that's where we're at. Your cheese has been moved. we have moved with it, and you got to move with it or you get left behind. Remember, the word crisis is a Chinese word that means opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So I'm gonna miss it. Back to you, sir.
So back to which is related to what Mr. Thomas is saying. It is one of the most controversial one is the faith conversation. I talk to a lot of people right now, and I'm sure you all are talking to a lot of people as well. And in a lot of cases, people are concerned. Some are scared, but a lot are very concerned. One of the conversations I have right now, definitely in the ACN marketing business, is most people we talk to are concerned about paying their bills. And so one of the conversations I have with people is I always ask the permission to be very frank with them, to be very aggressive with them. And most people will give me the permission to have that conversation. And I will always say, you can't tell me that on one hand you believe by faith, but you can't take the risk on the bills. Now, my first question to you, do you know you need to make a change? I do. Why? Because I don't want to be here again in my future. So why aren't you making that change? Well, I haven't made that change because I got bills to pay. Whoa. Here's where the problem comes in. You can't let your past eat your future. You can't. You can't let where you are dictate how you go where you know you need to go. Sometimes you're going to have to make decisions in life that are bold and they're not going to make any sense. But isn't that what faith is? So I hear people talk to me about faith all the time, but then they tell me something that's completely counter to that conversation. Why are you talking to me about bills when you say you have faith? You can't have one without the other. So you got to choose, and faith makes us do things that don't make sense often. But that is the key to entrepreneurship. And so this is one of the conversations we're having a lot with people right now, because yes, everybody's open to listen. Everybody's open to having the conversation. But what happens is the moment they face having to make the decision, having to make that decision to make the actual change, is where the block stops. And so that's where I typically will have the conversation about faith. Do you understand that you can't say bills are an impediment to me and still have faith at the same time? Because with faith, there are no impediments. Why? Because faith gives me the ability to act on a future that I see that doesn't exist yet. But I still take the action because I believe so much that it convicts me to take action. I wasn't sure if you wanted to say something, sir.
No, I was listening to you. I was just opening my line up so
Okay.
To take some questions. Does anybody want to address Mr. Dwight Williams with a question or anything he may have talked about last week or this week? I know Mr. Tasha Ismail is scratching the surface of her cell phone. But if anybody have any questions, please feel free. Let's see if anybody can beat Mr. Tasha to ask a question, because I know she's ready. You can unmute your phone, or you can just type it in. Probably better yet, unmute your phone so we all can hear it. You got a question?
I don't hear anything.
Well, you know, the blessing is we are entering into a new world where cell phone, you can run. I mean, I've heard Mark Cuban say it. I heard Robert Kiyosaki say it. I've heard Patrick say it on, this is it. You can be anywhere in the globe and run your business. There are 320 million people in the United States alone. Like Mr. Dwight said, hey, the world has stood still. They're looking for you. They're looking for you. Never, 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 never. Millennials are, quote, millennials are living in the greatest time right now. I'm trying to learn this. It gives everyone a chance. Always reinvent yourself. Can I tell you? I mean, I reinvented myself every couple of years. Otherwise, I get left behind. I can't afford to get left behind. Some of y'all laughing about internet, but look, when I get it, I get it. Some of y'all say he can't do that. I get it, but I'm on the internet now. I'm a quick learner. His faith is the key. You have faith in everything. Why not have faith in you? Look, the co-founders put everything together for us to win. Even track to run on. All this has been done for us. And all you have to do is have faith. Here again, faith in you. 30 plus years she's been an entrepreneur. Pay attention to the is the currency of this business. See, like I said, paying attention. We got the whole world stood still. The whole world stopped evolving, and you got nothing but eyeballs. Never in my life, and I'm sure Mr. Dwight would, have we ever seen anything like this? And you're sitting at home and watching the Kardashians. Now, let me be quiet. But what I'm saying, it's your time to rise. Okay. There'll be more millionaires, wealth, success, more people with a big organization than ever before. Do you realize there's a millionaire made every 10 minutes? Where everybody else is talking about suffering, they're still out there because they're using this. Yeah. Pain of change versus progress. He said that. Change is painful, but progress is necessary for success. I have more IBOs coming to my team in the last 30 days, 60 days, because people that were not too good for network marketing. Oh, I got a good job. Had the title, you know, assistant vice president manager. Gone. Mr. Brian Baker said it. Gone. They're looking for you. Yeah. Your higher uppers in your business is probably out there cutting your grass now because they're looking for a job. They got the big house, the big car, they got big debts. See, their debts are just as big as yours, but a bunch more zeros behind it. Don't you get it? Oh my God, I'm getting fired up. Question to Mr. Williams. Anybody got a question for this entrepreneur 30 plus years? And that's why I brought, he's also an IBO. Tell everybody why you joined ACM, Mr. Dwight Williams. You don't need to do this, but why did you join?
I'm always looking for leverage. And I went from being—
Did you say leverage, sir?
Leverage, massive amounts of leverage.
Massive amount of leverage. Key things wealthy people use: leverage and residuals. Lord have mercy.
Yep. I started off, as I told you guys, as a kid working as an employee. And the only thing I will credit myself is the ability to take some time, quiet time, and think. And each time I faced obstacles in my career, I stepped back, thought about it, and made a change. I started off as an employee, and then I became a self-employed. I was a highly paid self-employed individual at a very, very young age. I looked at that and realized that I was one guy making a lot of money, but I knew 10 people making half what I was making would make me many times more. And so that was the next thing I did. I started firms and agencies. I had contracts with really large. I had a contract with Chevron for almost 25 years. My first client was Eli Lilly, the drug company. I built their international systems, their global systems in my 20s. And so I say all that to say this. I went from being an employee to right now, I own companies that have many, many employees. ACN gives— my son is in ACN. It gives an 18-year-old kid the ability to compete with Sprint, my energy company, my cable provider, my home security provider. And you got to imagine those companies came up in the industrial age, at the beginning of the information age, with stores and employees. That's an old model. They're now competing with 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds that are sitting in their underwear in their bedrooms with a computer, Facebook, and social media. And these guys are taking clients from these companies every single day. For example, imagine a young kid, 22 years old, that hits a vein and he starts putting in 100 a day. the company with the store can't scale to match him. He has no overhead. He has no buildings, has no employees. He has no insurance he's paying. He has none of that. He is leveraging a platform that's been provided to him by the founders that is phenomenal. All I needed was the ability to have access to a bigger pond. ACN is an ocean that little guys like me can swim in like we're sharks. So that's why ACN is a big deal to me, because a minnow can swim around in the ocean like a shark, surrounded by sharks. And I'm the most dangerous thing that shark will ever see. I tell people all the time, you watched Walmart undo Kmart. Now you're watching Amazon undo Walmart. You're gonna watch a 25-year-old kid in his bedroom be the biggest threat to Amazon. That's what's coming. And I can't wait. I'm telling you, I want to be one of those guys. I'm telling you, that's what's happening right now. Questions?
Mr. Tasha Ismail. Yes.
Yes. So Mr. Antonio Dash has a question.
Oh, okay.
Antonio, go ahead. You can unmute yourself.
Hi, good afternoon in South Carolina. Got a question to the gentleman. When you say you get to when it come to that point of making that decision, how do you help them to make that decision?
Most times I talk to people, my lead in is never about the business. It's about the mindset. I want to know, do you actually believe in what you say? Most people don't. Most people say things that they actually don't really believe. So the first thing I'm going to challenge is, do you actually believe what you're saying? When that person convinces me that they actually believe what they're saying, then I'll talk to them. Okay, then you're ready. Because without the faith to believe, you can't achieve anything. You cannot, you will not. But once that person makes that decision and says, I believe and I'm convinced I'm supposed to be doing this, then now I can talk to him. We can talk about the tools necessary to make the next step. But without that, he in no way would be prepared to yield and wield the tools necessary for the next step without belief.
Okay.
So I guess my point is, typically, I don't lead off talking about the business. I lead off talking about the person and his
mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That right there was worth this whole call for me. You lead with the mindset, not the business. Lord have mercy. Miss Boss Lady, Mr. Edmund Smith.
And what were the two books y'all hold up?
The Magic of Thinking Big. There it is.
Book?
The first one, the one Mr. Thomas has, is The Magic of Thinking Big.
We both have it. Notice that Mr. Tasha Ismail's got it as well. And Who Moved My Cheese?
Okay. I have that book. I have that book.
Good. Reread it.
Who Moved My Cheese? All right.
Reread it.
All right. Edmund, you can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Ladies first.
Oh, no. You're good.
She's a moderator.
Copy that. Okay. Well, good morning from California, Mr. Williams. The question that I have for you is, what Bible verse do you use, or verses that you use, meditate upon, to strengthen your faith in getting you through the afflictions and the ups and downs that are inevitable?
Wow.
That's a really good question. Now you getting me to start talking about my favorite book. so I'm just telling you asked the question, so I'm going to answer. The first one, and the first thing is that when I read it, I believe it. And I believe it exactly what it's saying. And the first one that says that all things are possible to someone that believes. That if I believe, there are no limits to what I can do. I believe that's true. Now, I have a cheat sheet now. And that cheat sheet is the fact that I'm 55 years old. I have 30 years of successes and wins and losses that have created the foundation of the life that I'm living. And so now when I look back over those 30 plus years, I realize that there was never any failing. If I were to trade anything right now, there are three things that I would not give up. My faith, my family, and my foundation. The foundation is all of the experiences and things that I've had, that I've gained over my lifetime. You can have everything else. Businesses, I tell people all the time, you can have the shirt off my back. You can have all of that. If I keep those three things, I can build anything for me. So, and so when we face challenges like what we're facing right now, a person that believes, and then I'm about to give you my second one, that he can do whatever he believes. My only job then is to choose the things I am to believe in. All right. So yes, I learned early on not to chase money. I learned that a long time ago. I learned a long time ago how money is the easiest thing to get. Money is an easy thing to get. Money only eludes people who chase after it.
Right.
Money will always find value. So what I learned to do is to just begin to create just massive amounts. I always outworked what was being asked for me. Even right now in ACN, I know what we're trying to do, but my vision for ACN is massive. I have access to a phone company and an electricity company. A person. I know what these companies make. I know what they make. And a guy sitting in his office can do the same with the tools that I have available to me now. There are no limits. There's no business I can go in right now that could match what I could do in this business. Nothing. My other scripture is one that makes me invincible. And it says that everything that happens to me, because I love God and I am called for purpose. I have a purpose on my life, that I believe everything that happens to me is for my good. And so, because if I believe that that's true, then there are no bad things that happen to me. So how I said last week, how we relate ourselves to a thing determines our result.
Right.
I don't see negatives now. If something happens to me, I was, matter of fact, interestingly so, I just had a conversation with a gentleman 30 minutes ago that you would have said we got bad news, but we didn't get bad news. And I told him, I says, it's like being in a maze. All you did is run up on a wall. That's not a dead end. It just simply says, this was the wrong route. I just need to go find the right route. I don't get stuck because I ran into a wall. It's just that's not the right route. I just got to choose a different route. And we adapt. We are constantly changing and maneuvering and moving. Why? Because life is moving faster and faster. We have to adapt faster and faster. Which is why I say, when I look at a 30-year-old now, living in this world, like Mr. Thomas says, with this device, oh my goodness. If I could go back 30 years and be where you guys are.
Be more dangerous. Be more dangerous.
What?
You know, it's like you said, it's called adapting, and people are going to get left behind. As of March 18th, they're still in that maze, going after the cheese has been moved. We've all adapted. Oh my God. Being adaptability.
So one of the things, I'm having a conversation with a lot of people, and they're saying a lot. They're stressing. They want to get back to their job. They want to get back to normal. No, you never want to go back to normal.
Normal's
You
not
want
coming.
to always be changing and evolving and getting better. You know it. And Mr. Thomas and I have actually talked about this. There is one thing that you should do in life every day. Get better. I have concluded that the only thing we have to do every day of our life is get better. Getting better every day fixes everything. If I have a problem in my marriage, all I have to do is get better. If my business isn't growing, I just have to improve today from where I was yesterday. Because remember, life is not stagnant. There is no such thing as constant in life. Constant life is either compounding for you or compounding against you. So every day you don't get better compounds against you. Every day you do get better compounds in your favor. So most people are saying, man, I got to get this done. Man, I got to do this. Man, I got to jump on this. No, you never have to do this. What you have to do is find what is the path that has been laid out for you. And you need to improve your life every day along that lines of that path every day. That's what you have to do. And you don't need to get anxious about it, nervous about it. You do need to be vigilant and diligent, but not nervous and anxious about it. Because never use negative energy to try and produce a positive result. So never use anxiety, never use stress, even though there are people who use that procrastinate, but always use proper planning and thought to achieve the things that you want to achieve. But you get better every day, man. And I talk to people all the time, and they call me, I want to be here. I want to achieve. I need to get here. And I think to myself, why are you talking to me about this? You're at the base of a mountain looking up at the peak saying, I want to be on the peak. I want to be on the peak. No, just start climbing. Just start climbing. You climb enough, you'll be at the peak. It's as simple as, and that's what improving your life every day does. Improving your life every day does. Say, this is where I want to go. Start improving. I want to make a world-class peach cobbler. First one was terrible. I made a lot of mistakes. Now this last one, I still haven't gotten the crust right. Jacked up the crust, but I got the filling perfect. I promise you, I'm going to get the crust in the next few tries. I'm going to get the crust right. And next thing you know, I have a world-class peach cobbler. I'm improving. It's something I wanted to do, and I made the decision that I wanted to do it, and I have improved every day toward that decision. Everything in life. I had a young man say this before. He said, every breakthrough in life is a breakthrough in knowledge that is revealed to you. So everything that you want to change in your life boils down to a piece of information that you come to understand. That's it. You can't look at any situation in your life. If you have a situation in your life that you want to improve or change, there's a piece of information that you need to get to make that happen. And then faith, you have to become so convicted of that information that it causes you to take action. So you got people saying right now, I really need to change my life. I really need to do something different. They use a statement that I didn't always particularly like. Poor is a state of mind, and it's passing over opportunities repeatedly. Well, guys, let me tell you, in the last 3 months, I cannot tell you how many opportunities have already come about. Oil, the price of oil dropped $37 below zero. Okay, you gotta watch this. It's back up to $20-some. Now, let me help you bring that into context. That means every dollar you'd have bought at the bottom would have paid you $60 back by now. So you got people trying to get back to $30,000 jobs, where there are people who took the same 1,000 or $5,000 and they made that 30 grand in a matter of minutes. That's the world you live in. But if you are blind, if you're a blind man surrounded by opportunity, you're just not gonna see it. You gotta open your eyes. And because if the cup is half empty, you're gonna miss all of the water. You're not gonna see any of the water. And you'll die of thirst with a half empty cup. So let me stop preaching. Forgive me. I don't,
You can keep going.
I just want us to win. And I do not want us to miss this opportunity.
I'm going to jump in here for a second. It's such a great honor to have you on the call and to give people a different vision of ACN from a gentleman who's never been self-employed for 30 years. For you to hear it from a 5%er and not the 95% of the population you've been hearing for your whole life, because you hear it so much, you start believing this. We're trying to get you to go to the other side of the coin with other 5%ers who've been doing this longer than some of you've been alive, but to give you a different perspective on exactly what you have in your hands called ACN. And because you get bombarded with so much, you don't understand what you really have in your hand. When God told Moses, Moses, what is that you have in your hand? That was a stick. Proverbs every day is good reading for wealth and success. Greg Pramazano, the co-founder, I read a book of Proverbs every day. Some people out on this side of the coin, it's Cinco de Mayo. So what? I'm a 5%er. I'm reading Proverbs 5 today. Wisdom.
Yeah.
What's that in your hand? It's called ACN. Moses, what's in your hand? Do you know what you got in your hand? It's called ACN. And Mr. Williams brought it to you in a different light that you've never heard it from, because you never had an entrepreneur of his caliber to come talk to you about what's in your hands. Now, what are you going to do with it? Never use negative for positive. Moses, what's that in your hand? Mr. Williams, a few words in closing, sir.
Math. That's a different word now, but just look at ACN and do the math. If I told you that the average bill paid you $5, I don't know what the number is, but it's probably more than that. But I'm gonna take a low number, $5. And the average contract was 12 to 24 months. That means that you're gonna make $120 on every account you sign up. So let's take the average salary and let's say it's 60 grand. So that means you get 500 accounts. That business is gonna pay you that salary every month. That's what I see when I look at ACN. The time it takes me to get to the number, I don't care about that. I'm not thinking about the time it takes me to get to that number. The fact that I can get to a number like that and do that, all I got to do is get to it one time. Because once I get to it one time, that means I can do it again the second time. And if I can do it twice, I can do it 3 times. 3 times now, I'm making many times more than I could ever make on a job. That's what an opportunity. ACN gives not just leverage and residual. When you combine those things, it gives you the ability as an individual to scale like a big corporation. And with not a whole lot of people, not big numbers. Because those companies are signing up. My energy company here signs up thousands of people every day. If I could figure out, if I can get to a place where I sign up as many people as they do, it's gonna be pretty hard for me to be.
Checkmate.
I'm gonna be moving around a lot. But the truth is, you don't even have to sign. You can sign up a small fraction of that. And still, what you could make in a salary could never match it. That's
Wow.
what you get with a platform, a tool like this. Numbers.
Mr. Williams, thank you, and thank you. How many would like to see Mr. Williams back next week? How many would like to see Mr. Williams? Let's somebody clap for him. How many would like to see him back next Tuesday again?
Well, I would love to do that.
Sir, I'm going to put you down. I got you. I already put you. Look, while you were talking, I already put you in the book for next Tuesday already. So we can have another session. But promise me this, everybody. Don't just be like the Bible. Don't just be a hearer of the word. Be a doer of what you heard today. Can we all agree? Be a doer of what you heard today. And I want you to get everybody in your downline on here to get some wisdom. Solomon said, all I want was wisdom. Come on here tomorrow and get next Tuesday and get some wisdom. And call your downline up. Mr. Bailey, you can send me 5 or 6 new IBOs. I text every one of them. I send them a text about, hey, get them all on and tell them how important these calls are. They ain't going nowhere. They ain't home. They're home. They should be on these calls. We should have 300 or 400 people on these calls every single day. Tomorrow morning, we got the great Mr. Matt Seaver. Thursday, we got Mr. Dean Girelli. Friday, we got Miss Roeder. I mean, we're back to back with some powerful people. So don't get the blessing just for you. Get your whole downline on here. Get everybody. Because the reason why I had Mr. Williams come on, because I want to hear from a perspective, not somebody that's been in 1 or 2. No. I want to give you a 30-year global view of what's possible for you. And not just nickel and dime. It's $2.25 to get in. You don't know what you got in your hand, Moses. But after the day, whoo, Lord have mercy. Mr. Williams, thank you, my friend. Thank you. We show some love for Mr. Williams.
I love Mr. Thomas. Questions. Yes, questions. Tell them to bring questions. I've been doing this a long time. I love, it doesn't matter what the question is. I love questions.
The floodgates open up. He's open for questions next week. So make sure everybody, you bring questions.
Yeah.
Philosophical questions. Look, I learned a long time ago, when I sat at the feet of my billionaire mentors, I had a lot of questions because I wanted to know. I wanted to learn. I wanted to shortcut my failures with more successes. And see, he said something else pretty profound. I don't know if y'all caught it. Part of winning is losing. You can't win all the time. That doesn't make sense. As long as you win more than you lose. Part of winning is losing. Part of losing is winning. As long as you win more than you lose. It happens. I'm sure Mr. Williams got ripped off. I got ripped off. We don't cry about it. We get ourselves up. We learn from it. We learn. Makes us stronger. Not weak and fragile. I need somewhere to go sit down where it's so quiet. Oh my God. No, that's what leadership, and that's what true leaders are. They strong, backbone, posture. And I'm trying to get you guys to understand that. Whatever that is out there, Lord have mercy. We'll attack it. We're right after it. I'm not trying to, who taught you to think like that? Get strong. Listen, we're out of time. I got to get to the airport, pick my daughter up. She's flying in. She's supposed to be landing in about 10 minutes, but this got to be so good. She can wait for a few minutes. She just graduated from, anyway. We thank you, Mr. Williams. God bless you. We'll see you. If you guys need me, call me. God bless you. See you tomorrow morning. I'm sorry. Tonight at 6. Mr. Williams, we're doing a 1 through 8 tonight at 6. 1 through 8 at 6, and then 6:30 a quick start. And I'd like to invite everybody on Tuesday and Thursdays, and then Friday night, happy hour with Al. Bring your cocktail libation at 6 o'clock on Friday night, Pacific Coast time, to have we'll have a happy hour right here on the phone. So it's called Ask Al Happy Hour on Friday night at 6. Come on back. God bless you. I'll see everybody tonight at 6 o'clock. Thank you, Mr. Williams. God bless everybody.